I've been listening to this album for 32 years now, and I've never not enjoyed it. I find it to be such an incredibly immersive, beautiful experience. It almost feels like a soundtrack to a film, although it's not. Graham McDonald was living in Vancouver at the time, and he had just bought he had a real job. Mark and I were living in a slightly different part of town, and we were living more kind of we were trying to get the band going, and we were living a slightly more bohemian kind of like poor sort of styled poor lifestyle,
Living in squalor.
living in squalor pretty much. And Graham had an actual job at the time, and he bought a Super NES. I think it was a Super, whatever the NES, whatever the Nintendo system before the N64.
Yeah, so 1991 was the SNES, Super Nintendo.
SNES, and he bought The Legend of Zelda, and he said, "You got to come over and play this game with me." And so we had just been to see the Rheostatics probably the week before at the Town Pump, and we thought it was an amazing show. And he was like, "Hey, I got this Rheostatics album." And so we put it in and we fired up the game. And 30 years later, whenever I'm listening to Rheostatics, I can see the little Zelda character running in
Little
my mind.
pixels.
Yeah, little pixels, because it became the soundtrack to that. But we just had that album on repeat, and it sounded so different from, like, the songs are the same as they were playing them live, but the orchestration is just so much more dense, and there's guest vocalists, there's string sections, and there's horn sections, and there's keyboard and everything. So they did just such an incredible job of translating it to record. And I've seen them play those songs many times before, and the songs live are great, but the recorded version is just another world, another element. Anybody who hasn't had a chance to listen to this record, they just have to listen to it. There's probably no more record that I would recommend highly to anybody than Whale Music by Rheostatics.